Jared flinched a bit as the faux wood doors to his office were blown open. He frowned slightly as he fished a piece of wood out of his scotch. The old Terran army commander rolled his eyes as a full squad of Geknosian spec ops surrounded his desk, blasters drawn down on the lone human. The semicircle of armored and masked lizards parted at the middle as a Geknosian officer with more medals than a pre-FTL North Korean general walked in. With an almost giddy expression, the Geknosian officer sat across from Jared, bringing out a file folder as Jared stared daggers at the black-scaled Geknosian. The officer happily set a few slave contracts down on the desk between them, launching into his spiel. "I'm so glad you decided to join the Geknosian Republic, human. You even sent away all of your forces so our expeditionary fleet could land undisturbed. How thoughtful." Quickly signing the owner lines on the slave contracts, the Geknosian officer slid them around so Commander Jared could sign the slave line. Jared nodded and picked up an oddly thick pen, signing something on the slave line before asking, "Out of curiosity, how large is this fleet you landed? I've heard re-entry burn all day." The Geknosian officer grinned happily as he swept up the slave papers. 1 billion ground combat personnel, 500 million armored land and water vehicles, 1 million ships and all the fuel and ammunition to keep them going for 10 years. The Geknosian seemed overly proud at what he'd just divulged. Jared nodded slightly, lifting the pen closer to his mouth before saying, "VFS FAFO enemy is in position and unsuspecting. Fire at will." There was a slight pause before a voice responded. "This is Captain Leandra of the volunteer fighting ship, the FAFO, firing for effect." The Geknosian laughed raucously, but felt he'd remembered that ship's name from somewhere. "Oh, human, do you think one puny ship could take out an entire planet? We had them on scans the entire time." Jared just sighed and sipped his liquor. "Well, y'all messed around. Now it's time to find out." The Geknosian looked at the human commander in utter disbelief. "But you'll die with us." Jared laughed, downing his glass and sighing. "That's the leader's job. Make sure your men get out alive and that the enemy doesn't. If I gotta be put to rest, there's no better place than atop 1 billion enemy corpses. I hope hell's nice and warm for you." The earth rumbled as a wave of burning air could be seen rushing towards them from the window behind Jared. The human commander closed his eyes with a smile. Captain Leandra held the salute, watching as an asteroid the size of Earth's moon crashed into the planet. A wave of burning atmosphere spreading across the surface before the planet cracked and exploded. Chunks of rock the size of continents shot out into space. The VFS FAFO hovered silently in the void of space a few light years away, watching the death of the planet through long-range observation equipment. Captain Leandra sighed and brushed her long red hair out of her face after dropping the salute. The upgraded ARS had made short work of the planet, all thanks to Commander Jared's generous donation. She'd gone to officer school with Jared. The guy always seemed to be one of the ones that'd never make it. A physically weak man he was, but he wasn't stupid. He knew the geckos would need some bait to land their forces. She just never expected him to volunteer his own life. "Goodbye and Godspeed, old man,"